The members just indicated that the bill singles out former political prisoners. Is it not more accurate to say that the bill singles out former convicts who have served 5 years or more for very serious terrorist offences?
It's quite obvious that the purpose of the bill is to be directed towards ex-IRA prisoners. I mean, that's not being about the bush here. That's what this is about. That is what the purpose is of the bill. Yes.
How would the member feel if Johnny Adair were appointed to be a political advisor from someone from the unionist community? So would you take cognizance of the fact that this has on the unionist community, but also on your own community, on the nationalist community, in appointing someone with such a history?
I thank the member for his intervention, but it's important to reflect where we're going with all of this, because there are ex-prisoners throughout all of our communities. There have been ex-prisoners who have been members of this House, on all sides of the House, and members of each and every political party work with ex-prisoners, and ex-prisoners are in different positions within society, within community, and all of them carry out very important roles. And that, one looks at David Ervine, for example, a very articulate member of this House, who made a valuable contribution to the peace process. I may not have agreed with everything he said, but he did play a very, very important part in terms of the peace process in East Belfast and elsewhere. And I find it contradictory, because the Ulster Unionist Party wanted David Ervine to join their group in 2006, and at that time David Ervine was an ex-prisoner, and he was convicted for 11 years. So I asked the member to put it back to him. Is that not a contradiction in terms of his position?
Order. That's not to be across the chamber.
Yes.
Would the member accept that David Ervine was elected by the people, just as some of his members of his group are elected by the people, and they have to be respected by everyone? What we're talking about here is someone given very significant salary, not having gone through a merit process which is openly available to everyone, and having gone appropriate security clearances to gain access to the senior civil service, being given that very important role, not on merit and without the appropriate security clearances.
I mean, the member must misunderstand the point. The point I was making with David Ervine is he played a very valuable part in our society in recent years. And why should he be discriminated? Why should he have been discriminated against under legislation such as this? Why should someone on this side of the House, we have a number of ex-prisoners on this side of the House, be discriminated against? That is a step back. That is an unwinding of the Good Friday Agreement, in my opinion, and that is somewhere we shouldn't go. We have to move forward, and by isolating ex-prisoners within this society is not the way to go forward, and I think that needs to be put on the record. Yeah.
The members made reference to isolating ex-prisoners in this community, and he's just been questioned by another member about how one might perceive ex-loyalist prisoners in these roles. Would he agree with me that that question sits at odds with the comments made by the Ulster Unionist Party leader at the weekend, when he said he will help any ex-prisoner and anyone associated with ex-prisoner groups if they are genuine about using their commitment and energy positively in the community, and that we made commitments in the Belfast Agreement that linger unfulfilled?
Absolutely, and I don't want to go too far away from the principles of the bill, Concord, but there are a lot of contradictions in terms of that party's positions. But I think we have to look. Yes.
From the point made by Stuart Dixon, and to remind through the chair what the leader, and I saw Mr Biggs on the television clapping enthusiastically. He also said, in relation to ex-prisoners, I want them to tell me what they want to be, not what they were. This legislation will enshrine, people will continuously have to say what they were rather than what they want to be.
Thank the member for his intervention. Up and down like a yo-yo.
We're talking about a very, very select few, very few number of posts that are available as special advisors. I accept wholeheartedly that just because someone has a past, it doesn't mean they cannot have a future. But we're talking about some very sensitive people into very sensitive roles, and I think there ought to be due regard for those who may have suffered.
The member does make an important point, and a lot of people have suffered in this society. And you know, a lot of people within the Nationalist Republican community had a lot of difficulty with people who were released in terms of the Good Friday Agreement. But we have to move on. Prisoners have to be reintegrated within the community, within society, and we can't turn back the clock. I think it is important to look at political appointments, because a number of the parties are making positions which they haven't adhered to themselves. The proposer of the motion in 2004 was elected a member of the European Parliament. At the same time, he was a member of the leadership of the DUP in North Antrim. In that same year, the DUP appointed as a party officer an ex-LVF prisoner who was involved in a killing in Ballymoney and received a due sentence which would have been more than 5 years. At that time, Mr Allister did not take his party to task, nor did he query the appointments process. So that's why I call into question the motivations